Have you ever wondered how much of our past we don't know? Imagine picking up a massive book titled The Story of Humankind, only to find that almost all the pages are blank. Incredibly, that's the situation we're in. Roughly 99% of human history is effectively missing from the record. Modern humans, Homo sapiens, have walked the earth for around 300,000 years, yet we only began writing things down about 5,000 years ago. That means the vast majority of our story was never written at all. No journals, no monuments, not even a cave wall tally for most of our existence. It's as if humanity spent a long prologue in silence before suddenly speaking into the historical record. Today we're going to explore why so much of our history is missing and what mysteries might lie in that forgotten 99%. First, let's put this in perspective. Scientists often divide human existence into prehistory, before writing, and history, after writing. Prehistory is by far the longer era. In fact, the Stone Age alone, the era when our ancestors used stone tools, lasted about 3.4 million years and accounts for about 99% of human history. By contrast, all of recorded history, pharaohs, empires, revolutions, world wars, is just a tiny sliver at the end. One report notes that no demographic data exist for over 99% of the span of human existence. In other words, for nearly all the time people have been around, we have no written census, no written chronicles, nothing. Human memory fades after a few generations, so without writing, events from deep prehistory simply vanished into legend, if they were remembered at all. It's a humbling thought. Everything we consider history today fits into a minuscule fraction of humanity's timeline. If our species were 100 years old, we only started writing things down in the last year or two of our life. The other 98 to 99 years are a gray void. But why is so much of our past unrecorded? The fundamental reason is simple. For tens of thousands of years, humans couldn't write. Early humans certainly talked. They had language and rich oral traditions, but writing systems did not exist. The earliest known writing appeared around 3400 to 3200 BC in Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq, when Sumerian scribes began marking clay tablets. Before that innovation, knowledge was passed down by word of mouth. Stories, knowledge of hunting or healing, myths about how the world began. All of it lived in the spoken word and within brains, not on paper or stone. And while oral tradition can preserve tales for a time, eventually the chain of memory breaks. Over centuries, spoken stories transform or fade. If a catastrophe struck a community, famine, war, disease, its oral history might die with it. So entire chapters of human experience simply disappeared because no one ever wrote them down or remembered them later. As one commentator put it, most of human history has been lost to time. Even after writing was invented, only some cultures used it at first. For thousands more years, vast parts of the world, entire continents, still had no written records. Australia's rich Aboriginal cultures, for example, passed down knowledge orally for more than 50,000 years, but left no written chronicles of those millennia. The same is true for the Americas before about 3,000 years ago. So when we talk about missing history, it's not just hundreds of millennia ago. Even relatively recent eras can be missing if no one wrote about them. And even in societies that did write, accidents of survival have silenced many voices. Think of ancient Egypt. We found thousands of inscriptions on tombs and papyrus scrolls, yet how many more turned to dust in the desert long ago? In fact, even recorded history can vanish. A famous example is the Library of Alexandria in Egypt, which allegedly held hundreds of thousands of manuscripts from the ancient world. When it was destroyed by fire, war, or both, around 2,000 years ago, countless texts and knowledge were lost forever. If the writings of great philosophers or scientists go up in smoke, what does that leave us? Only questions like, what wisdom was in there that we'll never know? Now extend that thought to prehistory. What if entire sagas of our species played out, yet left not a single page or inscription behind? We do have some clues about those immense missing chapters, thanks to archaeology. Before writing, humans still left footprints in a sense: tools, bones, art, and other artifacts buried in the ground. Archaeologists painstakingly unearthed these and pieced together narratives. Yet this material record is frustratingly fragmentary. Many materials decay and disappear over time. Early humans made tools from stone, which lasts, and also from wood, fibers, or bone, which usually rot away or crumble after thousands of years. Indeed, archaeologists have found ancient bone tools, but these are rarely preserved in the archaeological record. Perishable items like clothing, wooden shelters, or leather shoes from 20,000 years ago have almost all disintegrated, leaving huge gaps in what we know. What remains best are stone, fired clay, and occasionally bone or metal from later periods. It's a bit like trying to understand a full movie when you only have a few surviving frames. We see a scatter of flint arrowheads, some cave paintings, hearth ashes, maybe a burial here or there, but so much is missing in between. Nature itself has been one of history's great erasers. Over tens of millennia, entire landscapes have changed. Ice ages came and went, forests grew over old campsites, deserts buried settlements in sand, rivers changed course, sweeping evidence away. One dramatic example is the rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age. Around 19,000 to 6,000 years ago, as the great ice sheets melted, global sea level rose about 400 feet, 120 meters. Coastlines drowned beneath the waves. Think about that. Many prehistoric people lived near coasts and rivers, rich in food and resources. Any seaside camp or village from the Ice Age would now lie deep underwater, literally sunk out of sight. And indeed, archaeologists are now finding traces of those lost sites on the seafloor. For example, off the coast of Denmark, divers recently discovered an 8,500-year-old Stone Age settlement on what was once dry land, until the post-Ice Age seas swallowed it. They found tools, animal bones, even pieces of a wooden tool, all preserved under the sea. It's exciting evidence, but it also underscores how much more might remain hidden beneath the oceans. Entire Ice Age landscapes, plains that ancient humans hunted on, are now submerged. Some researchers even suggest that the real cradles of civilization might lie on these sunken lands, waiting to be discovered. Is it possible that a prehistoric community built the first village on a now-drowned shore? We don't know, yet. Catastrophes, too, could have wiped the slate clean in the distant past. Scientists have found clues of massive events that nearly drove humans to extinction, bottlenecking our population. One genetic study suggests that around 900,000 years ago, long before Homo sapiens proper, but in our ancestral line, something happened that killed off approximately 98.7% of our ancestors. They estimate only about 1,280 individuals survived that crisis, a tiny remnant clinging to life. What could cause such a near wipeout? Perhaps a climate disaster, extreme drought, or a supervolcano eruption. We know that around 74,000 years ago, the Toba supervolcano in Indonesia erupted cataclysmically. Some theories, controversial but intriguing, propose it caused a volcanic winter that drastically reduced human numbers. Whether Toba or some other calamity, it's clear that our species has faced doomsday-level events before. Imagine the sparse bands of survivors after such an event. Struggling to stay alive, their previous innovations or cultural memories shattered. If any human society had achieved something notable before these disasters, it could have been almost completely erased, leaving barely a trace for us to find. As one scientist said about that 900,000-year-old population crash, about 98.7% of human ancestors were lost, and the fossil record from that time is indeed patchy. It's as if nature periodically hit a reset button on humanity, forcing us to start over and obliterating earlier chapters in the process. Yet, even without cataclysms, the march of time alone can hide things from us. What if, tens of thousands of years ago, some human group did something extraordinary, say, built seafaring canoes and colonized a far-off island, or invented an advanced tool, but later generations forgot or abandoned it? Unless some durable artifact survives for archaeologists to find, we might never know. and occasionally we get hints that challenge our assumptions. Consider the timeline of humans in the Americas. For decades, the standard story was that people arrived around 13,000 years ago. But in recent years, new evidence suggests humans were in North America much earlier. In New Mexico's White Sands Desert, scientists identified fossil human footprints dated to about 23,000 years ago, thousands of years older than we thought humans were there. These ancient prints, preserved in dried lakebed mud, show people, including children, walking those lands during the Ice Age. This discovery rewrites a whole chapter of our prehistory, proving that human migration timelines we accepted were incomplete. If footprints in the sand can upend theories, what else might be lying hidden, waiting to change the story? Each new find, a bone, a tool, a footprint, is like a single puzzle piece of a 10,000-piece puzzle. We put it in place and realize the picture is far bigger and more surprising than we knew. One of the most fascinating clues to a lost chapter of history was unearthed on a Turkish hilltop called Göbekli Tepe. Archaeologists digging there in the 1990s uncovered something astonishing: massive stone circles and pillars carved with animals dating back over 11,000 years. These megalithic structures predate Stonehenge by 6,000 years, and they were crafted by people who hadn't even developed pottery or farming yet. The site has been called the world's first temple, and it upended the conventional view of how civilization began. Before, most scholars assumed that only once humans settled into farming communities, after 8,000 BC, could they organize the labor to build large monuments or temples. Göbekli Tepe proved that hunter-gatherers at the end of the Ice Age could come together to carve and erect enormous stone pillars, weighing up to 10 tons each. This hints at social organization and shared vision thousands of years earlier than expected. It's as if a fragment of a lost story suddenly surfaced, a prehistoric culture with unexpected capabilities. What motivated these people to build such a complex site? Did they have spiritual or societal reasons that we can only guess at? Göbekli Tepe was deliberately buried in antiquity for unknown reasons, preserving it like a time capsule. But once it was a bustling gathering place, perhaps a pilgrimage site for ancient ceremonies. The discovery left archaeologists both thrilled and perplexed, realizing how much we don't know about human society in that remote era. If this hidden chapter could remain unseen just beneath the soil, one wonders what other surprises lie buried elsewhere. The further back we go, the more mysteries multiply. We find beautiful cave paintings in France and Indonesia, over 30,000 to 40,000 years old, depicting animals and symbols with astounding skill. These tell us early humans were artists with imagination and possibly complex beliefs. But why they painted these and what they meant to them is largely lost. We find burials from the Stone Age where bodies are sprinkled with red ochre or buried with shell beads and tools, suggesting some form of ritual or respect for the dead. Clearly, these people had culture, possibly spiritual ideas about death and an afterlife, yet no words of theirs survive to explain it. It's tantalizing. We see the traces of ceremony and emotion, but the story behind them is missing. For instance, archaeologists have unearthed graves from Eurasia around 30,000 years ago, where individuals were buried with thousands of ivory beads and ornate carvings. Such princely burials hint at social statuses or roles even in Ice Age bands. Did these people have leaders, shamans, or chiefs? Were there oral epics told around campfires about these honored individuals? We can only speculate. This great silence of prehistory has inevitably given rise to many theories and legends. Humans are imaginative creatures. In the absence of concrete facts, we weave stories. For example, nearly every culture has legends of a great flood in the distant past. From the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh, to the Bible's Noah, to Hindu and Chinese myths, there are eerily similar tales of floods wiping out earlier peoples. Some researchers think these could be folk memories of real events, such as the flooding of coastal lands or catastrophic floods as the Ice Age ended. Could it be that the story of Atlantis, a supposed advanced island civilization that sank beneath the waves, is a distorted memory of a real society lost to the sea? Mainstream science has not found evidence of anything like an Atlantis, but the persistence of global flood myths suggests our ancestors did witness dramatic sea level rises or floods. Those events, experienced by pre-literate people, became enduring myths rather than written history. This is a reminder that even myth and legend might hold echoes of the missing chapters of human history. We just have to listen carefully and investigate. So, what can we conclude about the missing 99% of human history? For one, it teaches us humility. Our ancestors lived through unimaginably different worlds, ice ages, giant mammals roaming lands we'd no longer recognize, and they undoubtedly had rich lives full of challenges, innovations, and stories. Yet most of that is gone beyond recovery. We're left with fragments and our own curiosity. However, it also teaches hope and excitement. Each year, new discoveries are made that peel back a bit more of the veil. We dig up a carved figurine that shows Ice Age people had complex art. We analyze DNA that hints at previously unknown migrations or even human species intermixing. We map submerged Ice Age coastlines and find ancient campfires on what was once dry ground. Piece by piece, we are rediscovering some of that lost history. Perhaps the greatest lesson is that history is not just what's written in textbooks. It's a vast, largely untold saga, and we are only beginning to uncover it. The next time you hear someone say recorded history, remember that an enormous human journey preceded it. We carry its legacy in our genes, in the shape of our hands that once chipped flint tools, in our universal love for storytelling, a habit as old as language itself. In a sense, that 99% isn't entirely gone. It lives on in us, but we must use science and imagination to coax it out. Now close your eyes for a moment and picture the countless generations who lived and died in that undocumented expanse of time. Who were they? They weren't just cavemen grunting in darkness. They were families, explorers, inventors of their own kind, problem solvers, survivors. They discovered fire, figured out how to make clothes, how to heal wounds with herbs, how to navigate by the stars. They conquered every continent long before GPS or maps. They adapted to an Ice Age world with ingenuity. Their achievements, though not recorded on paper, were nothing short of heroic, for without them, we wouldn't be here. So yes, 99% of human history is missing in the sense of written records or detailed accounts. But it's not a dead void. It's a frontier of endless questions and possibilities. As we continue to dig in the earth and delve into science, we may yet hear whispers from those lost years. Each artifact unearthed, each ancient DNA sequenced, each new site discovered is like a message in a bottle from our distant ancestors saying, "We were here, and our story mattered." It's up to us to listen. In the end, the missing history of humanity is one of the greatest mysteries of all, a puzzle still waiting to be solved. And that sense of mystery is what makes our past so alluring. It invites us to keep searching, imagining, and learning. Who knows what remarkable truths lie buried, or what forgotten heroes and cultures shaped our destiny. One day, we might unearth answers that change how we see ourselves forever. Until then, we live with the tantalizing fact that there's so much more to the human story than we'll ever read in any history book. Thank you for joining this journey into the unknown. Stay curious, because new discoveries are being made all the time. If you enjoyed exploring this mystery, don't forget to like and subscribe for more intriguing insights from world mysteries. And let us know, what do you think lies hidden in the unwritten chapters of our past? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments. History may be missing its pages, but together we can keep seeking the truth in those lost and silent years.